Hey, Steven, how are you? Daisy, lovely to meet you.
Glad to meet you, Patel. How is India?
India is good. It's like evening now. It's gone dark outside, and at least Bombay, you can still see the weather. It's not that hot. It's coolish,
Oh,
pleasant.
here it's 4:30 p.m. So we still have some few hours if we had a
Absolutely.
task to accomplish. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, does this platform tell us how many people are joined in or not? Bruce, maybe you can see it or not. You're on mute, though, by the way.
I, I am, and I'm not able to see.
You're not able to. Okay. Shall we get started?
Yeah, we can get started.
Okay, let's get started. At least we have 2 minutes away. So, okay. So, thank you everybody for joining. I'm super excited. I'm like extremely excited, and I'll tell you the reason why. I can see Lara just saying hello to everyone. So I'm super excited, and I'll tell you in a bit why. But lovely to meet you guys, Bruce, Daisy, Steven. Um, so, um, you know, before we begin, I think everybody can put in comments. So I'd like to see, we'll do quick introductions. Maybe let's do that. Let's do a quick round of introductions. I think all our profiles are already there, but we can do a quick round of introductions. So, Rukesh Pudal, I've been in Bombay. I'm located in Bombay, been in technology for a long time in financial services space. And I think the LinkedIn profile is there so people can look at it and log in. Bruce, you want to go next?
Hello, yes, hello everyone. I am really very excited, super excited to finally be part of this. I think this is our very first open podcast. I think we have never done a podcast before. So we are really excited as a team. Yes, so my name is Bruce Tushabe and I am a co-founder of Kisoboka Africa. And I'm also on the core working group of the Fine Scale and Muellners Foundation. So it's really exciting to be part of this and to be meeting all of you. Thank you.
Lovely. Very good. Daisy, you want to go next?
Yes, I would love to. Hi, everyone. My name is Daisy Naluge. I am part of this great Kisoboka Africa team. I am a co founder and a project coordinator. And yes, I am a fun loving person. It's definitely exciting being here. It is our first time, and yeah, we've been trying to figure it out, and I'm glad it worked. So nice to meet you, Patel, and anyone who's watching us. Thank you.
Nice, nice. Okay. Stephen, you want to
Yes,
introduce?
hello everyone. Glad to be here. Rose did a lot of coaching for us to be able to log in. This is our first podcast, so we are happy that we finally logged in. Happy to meet everyone, and we are looking forward to sharing about our social impact in Uganda. Thank you.
Okay, good. I'm just going to try and see if we can figure out a way in which we can see the comments from everyone. Okay, good. I'm just going to. Okay, I think I figured out. Okay, I can see it there. Okay, so, I don't know how many listeners are there or you joined, but would love to see how many people, how many of our listeners actually been to Uganda, or if not Uganda, at least what we call like the Victoria Lake countries, like maybe Kenya or Tanzania. I'd like to see that in the chat if anybody, anybody who's watching is able to, say if you've been there. But while you do that, the reason I'm supremely excited is because I was actually born in Kampala in Uganda. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners would not know that. During the 70s, I was very young when we left Uganda, but I've grown up knowing lots of stories about Uganda and Kenya and Tanzania. the East African, lots of relatives there. So it's very close to my heart. And my parents, they always, whenever they wanted to share a secret, they would they would start talking in Swahili. So, and, me or my siblings would never understand what are they talking. That's how it actually went. So I don't see many comments there. So I don't know. Not been to Uganda. Okay, Ryan says not been to Uganda. Okay, so maybe a good place to start. I don't know, Stephen, if you want to take that, or Daisy, or anyone, is to just give our listeners an understanding of what it is like to grow up in Uganda. What is it like? Somebody who's never been there, what would you kind of describe the country as?
Oh, yeah, I would definitely like to tell you about my Ugandan experience because I
Excellent.
have been in Uganda all my life. But one of the most exciting things, of course, being here is the food and the weather. We have
Oh, seriously.
amazing food, amazing weather, definitely. For the few places out of Uganda I've been, I can say food and the weather. Yes, but some of the
Hmm.
other reasons people would come to Uganda is, as you may know, we are the Pearl of Africa. We were given that title by an explorer back then because it is one of the countries that has so much. It has wildlife, it has great food, it's a food basket. So we are labeled as the Pearl of Africa. We are also one of the friendliest countries in the world. Actually,
Oh,
BBC in
absolutely.
2017 named us world's friendliest. So people here are extremely
Seriously.
warm and extremely friendly to foreigners. You talked about Lake Victoria. We share on one of the biggest lakes in Africa, and we are the source of the Nile, the source of River Nile.
Oh,
Yeah, the source
absolutely.
starts from here. So uh, when people are coming to Uganda, that is one thing they need to check out. And
Mhm.
we are known for our mountain gorillas. So half of the world's mountain gorillas, half live here. They live
Oh,
here with
really?
us. Yes.
Yeah.
So they live mostly in Bwindi, impenetrable. So we are home to the
Mhm.
mountain gorillas. We are a very multicultural country. We have 56 tribes in Uganda. We seem
Wow.
like a small country, and yet we are extremely diverse, and everyone brings in all these unique, different culture features. So it's like we are an explosion of culture. Like we are extremely fun. You would want to know different people, the things they do, their culture norms. It's amazing. Yeah, we are also a bird heaven. For the people who love birding, this is your destination. We have over 1,000 species of birds. And of course, our
Wow.
great wildlife. We literally have almost all the animals here, the buffaloes. We have the climbing lions. We have elephants. We have it all here. But also,
Right.
for some of the reasons, also basing on the work that we do, um, Uganda has a very big youth population, and most of the people in Uganda live in rural areas. Actually,
Hmm.
75% of the population lives in rural
Right.
communities, and this is why
Wow.
Kisoboka works with people in rural communities in trying to lift them out of poverty and economic development initiatives. We are also home to refugees, as you know. I think we are the country in Africa, we are the biggest refugee settlement. So
Rwanda?
we have, yes, we have a population of 1.5 million refugees living here
Mhm.
from South
Wh-
Sudan,
wh-
Burundi, Kenya, all over. But we are the biggest in Africa. So, and recently we started working with in refugee settlements because we've seen the need to economically uplift refugee settlements. So, also because of that, Chisoboka has started doing initiatives there. So that is a brief about this beautiful country. Growing up in
Wow.
Uganda is growing up with all this amazing culture and explosion of great food, of friendly people. So if you've not been here, this is definitely a tourist destination. Yeah, that
Wow,
is a little bit
it
about.
sounds lovely. It's like very blissful. I think somebody who loves wildlife and somebody who loves moving around the country. I think that's like perfect, isn't it? Uh, Amazing. I'm like touched. I'm getting goosebumps as you talk about it because I don't know what the special connection I have, but that's amazing. Um, so we talk about Kisoboka, and I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but I just love the term. It's like beautiful word. It just kind of rolls off your mouth. Uh, would be nice if you could talk us about like how it came about, what you do, a little bit background, from founder's perspective, right? Like what inspired you to start this thing? You talked a bit about poverty, but let's dig deep into it.
Yeah, I'll come in. Thank you, Rukesh. Stephen Katende is my name again, and I'm one of the co-founders. So Kisoboka Africa roots back in 2015. The three of us, the co-founders, me, Daisy, and Bruce, were working with an organization called Building Tomorrow. So we're part of a fellowship that sent us
Mhm,
to rural communities in different parts of Uganda. And our aim was to ensure children education. But while we were carrying out this kind of work, we realized high school dropout rates. And under this fellowship, the Building Tomorrow Fellowship, me and Daisy were in Luengo district, Bruce was in another district. And
mhm,
we were so keen to find out the reasons why children were dropping out of schools. So when we interacted with parents over time, they cited poverty and lack of finances as the reason
mhm,
why their children
mhm,
remained out of school. So this again reminded me some time back of a UNICEF report that highlighted around 81% of local households that were sampled then in Uganda had stated again lack of funds as the reason why their children dropped out. And this is a general reflection of the situation here in Uganda, where almost over 70% of children who start primary one do not finish primary education, do not go to secondary. And that
mhm,
is
mhm,
a very big challenge.
mhm,
So
mhm,
this is why the three of us thought about Kisoboka Africa, so that
mhm,
we find a way of economically empowering these local communities, these parents, these caregivers in rural communities, so that first of all they are able to meet their family needs, such as medical bills, having good accommodation, but also being able to finance children education. We believe the caregivers are the primary caregivers, and they should be empowered economically to be able to meet their family needs. Again, to
mhm,
give you a bit of more background, um, the three of us, the co-founders, we are lucky that we are educated. We went up to university, but this is because of the collective efforts in our different families. When each one of us
mhm,
shares their story of how they attend education, you will be, inspired and somehow surprised. But many children in local communities do not get a chance like we got. They don't have anyone to, come in handy and help them if
mhm,
their parents are not able to finance their children education. So this is why we started Kisoboka Africa. And Kisoboka means it is possible. So we just wanted to work with these communities
mhm,
and
mhm,
inspire them and show them that it is possible to work together, use the resources we have, elevate ourselves out of poverty, and meet our community needs, our community challenges. Yeah, so that's how basically the three of
Wow.
us sat and thought about starting Kisoboka Africa.
Steven, that's just so inspiring. I mean, you guys look so young, right? And I mean,
It's because of the
I,
good food.
sorry, come again.
because of the good food that we look young.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys met at the university. All three of you were studying together. Is that how you kind of came about? How did you three of you come together?
No, actually, the three of us met in a local fellowship between 2015 and 2016. We were recruited in a local fellowship called Building Tomorrow Fellowship.
Uh-huh.
So this fellowship basically placed us in different rural districts for 2 years to
Right.
try to understand the challenges the communities face, to try to make sure that we create an environment that supports children education in these local communities. So this was a strictly 2 years fellowship, and this is how we found out these unique challenges but also opportunities that communities face. So when the fellowship ended in 2017, we decided to take this on as a full-time opportunity, a full-time job for us to start Kisoboka Africa and, inspire communities to create possibilities. Yeah.
Wow. Uh, Amazing, amazing. And I'm you talked about the university, and you guys actually went to the university. Was that like a smooth sailing for most of all three of you, or did you have to also go through the similar uh, pains that you're talking about with the problem that you're trying to solve?
Yeah, Bruce, do you want to share anything about that?
Yeah, thank you so much, Kesh, for that question. Personally, it was really very difficult for me, especially when I finished high school. It was really very hard for me. I had to actually move away from the village that is the western part of Uganda, which is around 500 kilometers from the capital city, which is Kampala, where you were born. So
Right.
somehow, during my vacation after senior six, I had to go to Kampala, and I had to look for jobs. I had to do odd jobs. I had to
Okay.
do hawking of clothes around. I had to do lots of things so that I could actually support myself at university. So it was very, very difficult for us, but we are glad that at the end of it all, after struggling, after hustling, after doing different odd jobs, like personal, I was able to finish university. And this is why I am actually always moved to make sure that a child in
Absolutely.
rural communities can really get an opportunity to really have an
Lovely.
education, because I know what it means. It can only be the only way they can get out of poverty, or they can help their families get out of poverty. So
Mm.
I really have first-hand experience of what it means and how poverty can affect someone, how a person who does not have the support, or who does not have parents who have the money actually can struggle to get an education. And even the people I really finished like primary school with, most of them, like probably 95% of them, like did not go on to secondary school. So that is the
Wow.
experience that most of us
Wow.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's really amazing. Um, yeah. So okay. So let's go to the next level. Like, do you want to talk about the Kisobo program itself? Operationally, how do you operate, and what does it do?
Thank you, Rukesh. So at Kisoboka Africa, as I said earlier, our main aim is to catalyze economic opportunities among local communities, and we run a program that we call the School Community Bank program. So here we go to rural communities where we mobilize community members, especially women, youth, parents in different schools, uh, who form groups that meet in local primary schools. Basically,
Right.
primary schools, they can be government aided or private. So they meet weekly. We take them through business trainings. We have a curriculum that shows someone how to identify a business opportunity, how to start a small business, how to grow it from small to medium, how to manage a business profitability. So in these groups, they also have a chance to save some money that they've agreed on, and members can borrow from these groups to finance their businesses. So they borrow money at a small interest fee, but this interest still goes back to the group, and each member at the end of the financial year shares some dividends from the interest that the group has made over a year. So in these school community banks, as I said, they meet in schools. And one of the unique features is beyond finances, beyond money, the parents get a chance to interact with teachers about their kids' education on a weekly basis. Here in Uganda, and I know in very many parts of Africa, parental engagement in kids' education is not common, especially in rural communities, because
Right.
most schools are day schools
Hmm.
and parents don't follow up. But with this school community bank, we have a unique opportunity of parents going to schools to learn about business, to save money, to access
Mhm.
finances for investment, but also to talk to teachers about their kids' education. And also, we've gone on to digitalize this whole process, which Bruce will come in to speak more about.
Sure.
We want these people to be able to access financial information, access finances at the comfort of their basic small phone in a particular village in Ruengo district or somewhere in Uganda in the deep. And also we work with children also. We are trying to instill a savings culture, entrepreneurship culture from kids, in kids from a tender age. So apart from the school community bank, we run a young savers program. This is for school-going children, where we teach them entrepreneurship. We support them to start school-based projects where they generate some incomes. We teach them leadership. At the end of the day, we want these children to grow up financially literate, which some of us never got a chance to acquire
Hmm.
at a
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
tender
Hmm.
age. Yeah, so with this program, we've achieved so much. It has proven to work, and I request Bruce to come in and give a case of some of the progress, some of the impact we've had with this kind of work.
Yeah, but before I go to Bruce, I've got a few questions here. This is really amazing because you're not only developing the kid, the children who is in the school, but you are saying, hey, no, we'll take the parents and get the parents bought into the program so that they continue the kids' education all the way through, right? But at the same time, you are educating the kids, the parents on
Yeah,
financial disciplines, right? And
definitely.
then they are able to financially then support the whole family, I'm guessing, and they get finance as well. Now that's just brilliant. I mean, I don't know how many things you are solving by, and it sounds very simple, right? um, but do you have, like, you talked about a couple of things here. One is, do you have a set program which you take each of your school through, like the parents? Like, is there some financial specific, like what kind of financial knowledge are you giving them, right? So that's one area. The second question I have is, when you're collecting the money, like they're saving money into an account, is what you kind of talked about. Is that somehow regulated as a banking entity, or is that very similar to microfinance? Because we do see a lot of that also around, right? So if you can just touch on a couple of those, I think I'm very curious to know how you operate this.
Yeah, thank you, Rukesh. So when it comes to financial, the business skills, we are really trying to be as simple as possible. I believe the beauty of simplicity in whatever we do,
Mhm.
because we are working with the illiterate, the bottom, poor. So we uh, address simple areas such as business opportunity identification, because there
Okay.
are very many opportunities in our communities that many of us are not seeing. So we take these people in two sessions of how to identify opportunities where they are.
What
We
would be a
take
good example of that, Stephen?
Yeah, so I'll give you an example in one of the trainings we did. So this parent was complaining of not having money, but
Mhm.
there was a market just near her home, and in this market they were selling vegetables, but she had never thought about venturing into selling vegetables every Saturday. So after going through our trainings, she realized that she even didn't need a lot of capital to start a vegetable garden. So she started one, and I didn't prepare the photos. She started one, and now she sells vegetables. The last time we visited her, she was able to make at least 50,000. That is around, I'm trying to convert that into dollars. That is around 20 dollars,
Okay.
every weekend. That is not
Right.
a lot, but it is crucial for her to meet some of her basic needs.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to show them that if you look keenly into the community where you are, there are a number of opportunities. Many of these schools, for example, don't have school canteens because they are
Right.
really basic schools. So some of them have, after the training, have now ventured into starting to bake pancakes. We have like very local pancakes. They are not like the European ones or American ones, but they
The one
bake
that DC
pancakes,
was talking about. Yeah.
yes, and sell
Mm.
them to these schools. So we take
Right.
them through simple things like market research. How do I determine that this product or this service is required in this community? We take them through simple things like bookkeeping. I'll give you an
Mm-hmm.
example. When we were doing one of the trainings,
Mm.
one of the beneficiaries came to me and she was like, I have a small retail shop and I make a lot of money, but I don't develop. So when I asked her how much she was earning, she told me, I make around sometimes $30 per day, but for 3 years my business has never grown beyond. So
Mm-hmm.
when I went to analyze her business, I realized that she wasn't uh, keeping records. And when she saw some money in the counter, she thought all of it was
Spinning.
profits,
Right.
yet most of it was stock. So when she
Mm.
saw money in the counter, she would buy meat, she would buy this. So at the end of the day, she would even
Mm.
spend more than she
Mm. Mm.
has earned because she was not
Mm.
keeping records. So we take them through those. We have 8 sessions that we take them through. And these,
Wow.
by the time they finish, these really help them to uh, be able to run their businesses. On the case of the microfinance bit,
Yeah.
uh, we do not control these people's money.
Mm-hmm.
What we do when we form a group, we facilitate them to elect a committee where there is a chairperson, where there is someone in charge of finances, a secretary, uh, chief whip, and so on. So it just
Mm-hmm.
empower them to manage their own finances.
Right.
They create accounts, manage their own finances, and when someone wants to get a loan, they don't come to us
Mm-hmm.
as an organization, but they go within their group, apply
Mm-hmm.
for a loan, and it is now this committee together with the group members that approve the loan and
Ah,
finally.
okay. Very nice. Right. So it's the savings of the community, which is then given to a loan. And therefore, I'm guessing that more people are inclined to pay it back as well because, it's members' money in itself, right?
Yeah, definitely. We are trying to be as community as much as community led as possible. We want these people
Yeah,
to own the
absolutely.
initiative so that they get the most out of it.
Yeah, yeah. No, brilliant. I mean, that sounds really lovely. And it seems very simple the way you describe. It's like 8 sessions you come in and you become financially literate. and then I'm guessing within the community you're providing the support whenever they get into trouble or issues or anything like that, right? Brilliant,
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant.
And such what's happening anywhere in trees, in banana
Yeah.
plantations.
Huh.
So, yeah.
No, lovely. Bruce, you were going to tell us about the use of technology in the operations side as to how you manage that and how the community then uses the technology to keep hold of the accounts and all.
Exactly. That's really what some of the things I want to really talk about, and I also
Absolutely.
wanted to add on Stephen's on what Stephen has been
Please.
talking about. We
Yeah,
want to
please.
really make sure, we have always been trying to make sure that we make this as simple as possible. And in a way, I want to also think that our model, although it is I mean the group management model, or like it kind of like works the open source way. So what we do is we enter into communities, and then we have this model that we have designed. We have steps that they have to take in order to create groups. This is very well documented, and we really want to make sure that we put them in a place where even if we are to leave, they are able to run their things
Oh my
sustainably. We don't
goodness.
want to be a people, yeah, that is like, we don't want to be people who go into a community and then people are always going to be depending on us. So we want that whatever we have, the model that we have created, it is first of all sustainable. It can be done by any community, however illiterate it is, and then anyone can run with it. For example, if we shared with you some of the documents that we have done, like anyone anywhere in the world actually can actually look at our model and then the steps, the way it is well documented, and then they can use it in their communities. And all these things
Mm,
are
mm.
freely available. We have documented them and they're freely available for anyone that would probably want to use them. Yeah, because we want to
Absolutely.
see very many people come, very many people being empowered to get out of poverty. It's the only way, because there are very many people around, and we also don't believe in in handouts, like coming in and then you just give people aid and help them with whatever problem they have. You want to make sure that you are empowering people to orchestrate
Mm,
their way
mm.
out of poverty, to design their way out of poverty, to be owners of their own development journey actually. Yeah, so that is what we have been trying to do, and
So,
that's what we continue to
Bruce,
do.
Bruce, how many? So, like you've been on operations, I'm guessing since 2016, as Stephen was
Yeah,
talking. How
yes.
many communities have you established? Like, how many members, or are you able to quantify some numbers so the listeners get an idea of the scale? I know I have read all your slides and all. So I know so.
Exactly. That's very exciting. So we have actually created 68 school community banks.
Mm,
68 school community banks are reaching out to 2,000, actually more than 2,000 members who are part of these groups. So
mm,
68
mm,
school community banks in, and these people, which is very surprising. The first time we reached out to them, these guys were like, "Oh, we cannot save any money. We are very poor." But it is so surprising that after this year that we've been working with them, they have saved more than 130,000 US dollars. That is the money combined like over time. And that's a lot of money, especially for Uganda. Like you couldn't expect that money to come from, these people in rural areas. But the way we
absolutely.
see it now, where we started from, and see where they are right now,
Are we losing Bruce there?
we have been campus for them. When you interact with students
Uh,
now, they're going to tell you
Sorry,
things like,
Bruce.
"Yeah, now we believe it is possible." Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bruce. I mean, got
are you
lost
able to hear me?
somewhere, but just to throw a little bit of light, the impact we've
Mm,
had is quite amazing. He was talking about $130,000 that has been saved by community members themselves. They never expected
Wow.
this. We've taken almost 1,200 of them through the business trainings. And from the evaluation we did of recent, 71% of these have already started businesses after our
Wow.
trainings.
Wow.
We've had people set up simple commercial houses where they earn an income. We've had people set up retail shops. We had a lady who set up an underground water tank in the community, and now she sells water. Uh, Such unique opportunities. We've seen people who have gotten money and set up permanent houses, installed solar panels, paid school fees for their children. So the impact we've had, yeah, in this simple work we are doing is quite amazing. I'll give you a last scenario of Daisy said earlier that we've started working with uh, refugee communities. We
Mhm.
piloted in one of the refugee settlement called Nakivale, and we
Mhm.
just trained 10 young ladies between 18 and 30.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and the training just ended in December, but 8 of them have already launched their businesses in a refugee settlement.
Wow.
So it shows you how simplicity can really lead to development if handled well. Yes.
Wow. Wow. And Steve, uh, you largely form the community with the women folks. Are men allowed, or there is a specific reason why you are targeting only women?
We do not exclude men.
Okay.
Actually, around 15% of the beneficiaries are men.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
I don't know, I've not taken time to research about this, but naturally,
Huh.
women are more active in such
More
development work.
enterprising,
I don't
huh?
know how it is in India, but in Africa, it is generally women will easily come to such development groups. I don't know whether men are so busy. Bruce,
Mm,
you need to
mm, mm,
research more about that. But yeah, women are the majority. And also, it's come to our notes that of recent we work in, it is mainly women who are the breadwinners in their families. So you'll find
right.
that most of these families we work with are taken care of by women. And that's why it is at the heart of it is part of our work to empower them. When you look at most of us here, the staff, the co-founders, who are
Mm,
also
mm,
mainly raised by women. So
right.
uh, it is close to our heart.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Women power, right? Absolutely.
Yeah,
Um,
that is so true.
Uh, this is
Thank you.
amazing. So the listeners, if you have got questions, I just remind you, please post them in the chat. We are monitoring them and we'll try to answer them. Bruce, go on. I think our listeners are dying to hear about the technology aspects of how you are actually going about this one.
Yeah, and so I'm really excited to talk about the technology bit because one thing that we must appreciate is that usually most of these communities where we are working, people are like completely excluded, like in these digital things. So the digital divide is really very, very big. And what is very surprising is that most of these groups that work in, you find that 90% of them have small mobile phones. They are not smartphones, but each one of them, like almost like you find that they have a small phone. And
Mm,
also, we must realize that most of these people, the biggest number, actually, you find that almost like 100% of them, none of them has a bank account. According to statistics, there is only 11% of Ugandans who have active bank accounts.
wow.
So, and this 11%, you'll find that most of them are in towns. They are not in rural communities.
Rural
So you
community.
have, yeah, you have close to zero presence of banks in
Mm,
these areas. But then they have something. They have something. They have mobile phones. So one
right.
of the best ways you can actually reach out to these people is by mobile phones. But it is very
Mm,
surprising that up now this area is not being utilized. This part, this aspect, we still find that mobile money. Mobile. I don't know if you know about mobile money, but mobile money transactions like started way back in Africa, in Kenya, around 2007. But then this area has not completely been disrupted in Africa. So what are we trying to say? What are we trying to do as Kisoboka Africa? Want to make sure that we use what they have currently. They may not
mm,
have the latest smartphones, they may not have the latest what, but we want to make sure that we use what they have currently. And what do they have? They have mobile phones. So how can
Correct.
we reach them? How can we provide financial services to them using what they have currently, which are mobile phones? So that is why
Hmm.
we have ventured into using technology. If we can use the USSD kind of technology to make sure that these people are receiving financial services on their phones, then I think let us
Mhm.
do that. We need to be, we
Right.
need them to be included in the digital economy. They cannot they cannot always be separated. And since they cannot have bank accounts, since they cannot work, but at least they can access financial services using their smaller phones. And that's why we have piloted, like in the last 1 year, we have piloted a digital platform which we did with in collaboration with, it is licensed with a certain company here in Uganda, and then we were
Mhm.
able to reach around 990 people of these. They were able to access financial services. They were able to be able to see their money they were keeping in their groups. We wanted them to be able to, to be able to receive mobile money, be able to apply for loans using those. Then we have also seen the impact of COVID-19. People have not been meeting. Most of them have been like under lockdown. So how do you reach a person who cannot meet? They can no longer meet in groups. So we were seeing like one of the best ways is by actually still reaching out to them using mobile phones. So, but the
Absolutely.
system that we were using before, we found a limitation with it. We found that it was more like a data collection kind of tool. They were still not
Mhm.
able to provide mobile money services to these people wherever they were. So that's why we started looking around and trying to see what technology can we use in order for these
Absolutely.
people to have, yeah, to be able to have all these things. First of all, have accounting services on their phones, and then be
Hmm.
able to also access mobile money services using their phones. And so that's how we found about Fineract
Right. So that's how the FinRec
platform.
kind of comes, and that's how the
Exactly.
community comes in.
Yeah, exactly. And then it is open source. I mean, that is exciting. Like it is open source.
Absolutely.
So it is something that we could actually also customize to meet the needs of these very people. We didn't want, these limitations of licensed softwares and all those things. So we feel
Absolutely.
like there is open source has the power to democratize this aspect of financial inclusion. We can use open source to finally get digital financial services to these people wherever they are, because we know how we can reach them. They have the mobile phones. So that's what we have
Hmm.
been working on. And this is something we are also excited to continue to work on with Muellners Foundation, so that we can be able to reach these people, not only in this region where we're working, but we can also extend this to the whole of Africa and other communities in the developing world.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
So
excited.
then I'm guessing. So just I'll just repeat for the listeners here. Like there is an open source software FinRec to which Mulinar Foundation is a big contributor in terms of the open source, and Ankit and Lara, they were big time along with Dinesh. I see some of them here already. Uh, and you know it's an open source loan management, like it's a full banking kind of finance management backend. But did you have to then, Bruce, customize, like do you actually have you integrated, or are you planning to integrate it so that it works with USSD?
Yes, so exactly. So that is one of the things we are going to begin to work on. We're exploring. We believe this is possible because it's possible. As Kisoboka, like we believe everything is possible. So we are finding out. We are trying to learn how this can happen. We believe this is possible, and that is why we want to use the power of open source to make sure that we make this happen for them.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. And there is a huge developer community, and I hope all the developers are listening, because this is a hackathon for you guys to actually make some of the front end operate over USSD. Bruce, if you can just drill a little bit into it. Um, Now, what the members who are looking at it, what kind of information are they accessing over USSD? Are they trying to understand how much they have saved? Is it like a? Can you just relate to as to what is the interface, or what are they using? Like, I'm guessing there are 2 3 roles here, right? So there is one who is the community member, or the head of that community, who is accounting for everybody, and then there is individual member who is then wanting to know what information. So maybe you just want to, maybe I didn't do a very good job at that one, but if you want to take that on and just help describe what are they using that for.
So basically, what it is, we have a group secretary of the SCOBA. He has, for them, they have a smartphone. So with this smartphone, they can do all the accounting operations of the group. And then they can also add members in a group. Then when members come and save and borrow and try to do everything, this they are using this smartphone, they are able to like capture all this information and whatever is happening. Then the
Right.
members of the group, wherever they are going to use a code, maybe an identification code wherever they are, and then they are going to use a USSD code on their phones. And every time they use this code, they are able to access all the information about them. They can access information about how much they have saved. They can access information about what loan they have. They can
Right.
access information about how to apply for a loan. You know, they can access all that information. They can also access a few information through SMSs about financial literacy and all those things. So want them to be able
Okay.
to do that, but they can also do mobile money transactions wherever they are using. They can buy airtime. They can send money and save it using that USSD code. So wherever they are at the convenience of their small basic phone. So this is what we are trying to achieve.
Wow, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'm kind of blown away by what you guys have actually achieved in this very short period of time, and the impact you have had. It's like very heartwarming. um, I am very curious, and I'm sure all our listeners are absolutely very curious now. um, you are a non-profit organization. uh, you're using open source, you've got some training material and all of that. you know there are 2 things here. One is, I know Shweta and I work very close to, who is one of the listeners and has been active in the chat there. We also do some work, and we are looking at how do you make people self-sustainable, right? Like, how do you teach them how to fish? And you kind of crack that code there. How, like, what information, if listeners are wanting to set this up, what information is available, or how can you guys help to scale it maybe in different parts of the world, right? And make this Kisoboka like a global phenomenon. Who wants to take that? I think Steven, yourself, or Bruce.
Uh, yes,
What?
so as Bruce said earlier, thank you, Rukesh. We all our information is open source. We believe in synergies. So as I said, we have a business training curriculum that we are using, and we are happy to collaborate with anyone anywhere in the world to scale this to more communities, to more parts of the world. Uh, Also, our model, how to start these groups, how to facilitate them, whatever happens in these groups is also readily available with all the steps. So we are always very happy to partner with anyone to share our work, because we believe there is so much that is needed to be solved in the world, and every one of us, wherever we are, we can contribute to ensuring that we create a better world.
Absolutely. Lovely. Thank you very much. And I'm going to ask that question later on so that you can provide the information, contact information. I think on our listing, there are everybody's LinkedIn profile. So I'm sure people can get in touch with you on the profile. I'm now very curious. What are some of the key learnings and key takeaways um, that you have had as you gone through this journey? I'm sure it was not very smooth sailing, but I love the motto: everything's possible, nothing's impossible, and keep it simple, right? Keep it simple,
Yeah.
keep it simple, stupid. We call it the KISS principles in technology. But please tell us, like, what are the learnings been for you, and what are some of the key takeaways that you think that people would really take away from your story?
Thank you. When you look at
Yeah,
I know rural communities, this has I found this a lot in the development community, development practitioners. They are always looking for challenges in the
Hmm,
communities.
hmm,
However, for us, one unique thing is there are a lot of opportunities that can be utilized in communities for development. When we went in these communities, we found challenges. Kids were not going to school, there was poverty. But we looked at the opportunity. What opportunity is there? These people can come together, work together, and save and invest and see what has happened in this period. $130,000 out of nowhere has been saved. So always in development work, I think one of the key takeaways is we should look at the opportunities. We should look at with that keen eye and identify opportunities that we can utilize in communities for the better of the people we are working with. But also one other key learning for us is breaking the dependence syndrome. I think
hmm,
development practitioners have over time created this, especially in Africa. I will speak for what I know better in Africa. And people have been so much used to being given and given and given. Actually, one of the challenges we faced earlier was convincing people to be part of this because they were used of handouts, and here we came without any handout.
huh,
But over time, we've seen that people have now started appreciating the fact that they are working, they are collecting resources they have together, and uh, they are investing in small businesses, so they don't have anyone to look out to ask for handouts. They can meet
the
needs for
needs.
themselves.
Hmm,
And the last thing for us is sustainability. In whatever we are doing, we should look at sustainability. When we were, told you about our background. We would have started maybe a scholarship fund and look for money and just pay for school
hmm,
fees.
hmm, 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 hmm,
But what
hmm,
happens after 5 years when Kisoboka is no longer in the community? What happens
hmm.
to Patel, who was in level 6 and now supposed to go to level 7, and there is no school fees?
Right.
So I think in whatever we are doing, one of our killers has been thinking sustainable, thinking sustainability, making sure that we give the net to Patel to fish for himself rather than giving him the fish to
Absolutely.
eat for one day and then the next day he starves. So for us, sustainability, breaking the dependence syndrome, and always looking for opportunities for development is very key, and it has helped us move a lot even when we don't have resources.
Hmm, hmm.
yeah. So
No,
to
brilliant.
to add
Yeah. Go ahead.
to
Yeah,
add
please, please.
yeah, to add on what Stephen has said, sustainability, and it is also very important that we never undermine any community. I know there are very many people who are saying maybe certain communities are very poor, they're third world. So somehow they do not look at them with dignity. Like, it is very important to understand that every person, wherever they are, whichever community they are living in, whichever part of the world they are living in, whether they are in Africa, whether they are in India, whether they are in Europe, wherever they are, they want to really they want to live with human dignity. And it is very important that as practitioners of development practitioners, wherever we are, we do not undermine these people. We give them an opportunity to live with dignity, and also understand that they have the ability to actually have solutions. The solutions, we don't have to look at them as, as we like we are saviors for them, and so they have nothing to play and all that kind of stuff. So if we want any solution that is sustainable, it must be driven by the people that we are trying to empower, that we are trying
Absolutely.
to work with.
Absolutely.
So any community can thrive, any community can prosper, any community can be anything they want to be, as long as people who are working with them, we begin to look at them from that kind of angle, and we work with them with that kind of aspect. And I've also in the same sense, I've also realized that things like technology, sometimes, when you want to implement anything technologically advanced, you want to implement it in maybe in countries that are a bit more advanced. So countries like Africa, or countries like developing countries, maybe in Asia or anywhere, they are not going to be included, or sometimes they're going to be kind of like neglected because people feel like it is going to take long to work with these people. But I want to tell the world that technology can work for any community if you are willing to care and work with these people. If you take time and work with these people, technology can work for any community. There is always a way technology can work for these people, and technology can be a very powerful tool that can be used in order to help people rise out of poverty. And I would also like, another thing that we have really learned is that we must always do things with empathy. Like we must always try to put ourselves in the shoes of the people that we're trying to work with. If we want to design things for them that are going to really work for them, we don't have to maybe concentrate on designing maybe like our own toy things that we feel like they are going to help these people. Yeah, but then if we're empathetic enough, if we're working with these people, if we live in the communities, if we work with these communities, any community can be empowered, any community can be helped to rise out of poverty, irrespective of who they are, where they are, and maybe what tools they have. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Bruce. Very well said, both of you. I mean, this is just amazing. Um, um, I think I have one final question, and we should close this as we are reaching top of the hour. Um, what does future look like for you guys? Like, if our listeners want to help out in any shape or form, what are the ways in which they can get in touch? You have a website. You know, I'm very curious. Where are you heading from here?
Thank you, Rakesh. I think Bruce will share. Bruce could share our contacts in the comments part. But we have great ambitions. Uh, though we started in 2016, but most of the impact has been uh, achieved last year.
Mhm.
This is when we've really moved at a better speed. So our goal is to reach out to 30,000 people in the next 4 or 5 years, uh, empower them economically, and these are people in rural communities, and enroll them uh, on the digital financial inclusion platform, so that they are able to access finances. We've also realized that access to finances is still a very big challenge, although they've saved quite some good money, but
Mm.
still, in many instances, it is not enough to invest in the business they want. So we are in a process of creating a revolving fund as an organization, where these community banks can come and get money, so that they capitalize their groups, so that members can get enough money from their groups. We are already piloting this year. One of our partners donated to us £10,000 to pilot this, but we want to create this into a pool of $300,000, so that these people are able to capitalize their businesses with very few or no bureaucracies, and they are able to develop themselves.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just going through the questions. Thanks very much for that, Stephen. Um, Okay, I think Pius has been actively answering questions as well. So, you can read through that. Okay, so now since we are over time, I'm going to um, end the podcast here. But before I end, I'm extremely touched, Daisy, Stephen, Bruce. I'm so grateful that you guys exist on the planet. The stuff that you are doing is just amazingly heart touching and heartwarming. Very, very grateful, and I'm privileged, I think, to be able to talk to you. I'm sure I'm going to be getting in touch with you guys for some of the things that we are doing here. And Daisy, everything you talked about Africa, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm going to be there in the next couple of years. And
Oh, that's amazing.
yes, we'll come and see Kisoboka in action live, right? But thank you very much, guys. Really, really grateful and blessed. And wish you all the best and all the success in the world.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah.